Yeah, Monkey King is being banned a lot against Vici. They really do like this hero. They've got the mobility here. He hits hard early. He can work with Grimstroke as well as the Shadow Shaman. I like it here, and I've been seeing a lot of those early, fast-paced lineups be successful. When you're going high ground, taking tier 3s, going for racks at 20 minutes in. It's such a weird feel to Dota.
Yeah, and Vici Gaming are definitely strong at that. Could go for a troll, maybe, to follow up. But I do think that they should go with continuing the theory of early push, especially with a Shaman and an Enigma. You have really solid push early on. And even though Shaman's kind of cooldown dependent, that's okay against a Medusa, because more often than not, you're going to be able to pressure her without the usage of snakes. So, or serpent wards rather, seeing as that Medusa is a mystic snake. So, yeah, hopefully they get an early game carry for Paparazzi.
Into the Venomancer.
No, for sure.
Veno's been played in the one spot, the off lane. I haven't seen it mid yet through these qualifiers. It was played in the one spot by the Royal Academy team, as well as in the off lane by that same team. They played it a lot yesterday. Very
I think they give it to 11 most of the time, but we'll see.
5 seconds remaining.
Could we be seeing like, because he does play a mid Rubik. Could we see Medusa safe lane, Venomancer off lane, and Rubik in the mid?
Dude, I'd be super hyped for that. I didn't know Yi does that, but if he does, then I would be super hyped. Mid Rubik has kind of fallen off, which I think is a shame. It's possible that teams may have just figured it out. It's not a very difficult hero to deal with. It's just more often than not during the draft you don't really consider it. But ever since teams started like showing that hand, I think enemy teams are more willing to be like, oh, okay, it might be a mid Rubik, so let's not, have like a lot of burst damage or a lot of high damage spells that a Rubik can steal and make a mid Rubik very effective. And I think part of it is I would like to see Rubik show up as a response to mid Lina, because mid Lina is starting to make a slight resurgence with the buffs in 7.21D. So I am not willing to commit to it to being a mid Rubik yet. Obviously, Keen don't have 10th pick, so they're going to have to reveal what it is first. But I would be hype.
Yeah, Vici assuming it might have been a mid Rubik because they banned the Abaddon, which has been in the 5 position quite a bit recently.
Yeah, that's true.
And he played the mid Rubik yesterday. It was in a loss to Royal Academy, and he went 3-5-9. He had an okay early game. He was up against a Shadow Fiend mid.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And Nature's Prophet.
Oh, so I guess it is mid Rubik.
Well, that could be. They could still throw the Nature's Prophet in the offlane. Chalice was playing it yesterday offlane for LGD. And then throw Veno safely Medusa mid. There's a lot of ways this lineup could go.
Yeah, I'm putting my money on offlane Veno just because I don't think I've seen Keen play it on anyone else other than 11. So that's what I'm leaning towards.
An Alchemist. Whoa.
An Alchemist.
I've not seen that in the Chinese region for a while. And it's Kaka on the Rubik.
Wow, okay. What a way to start this off.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this Alchemist.
Yeah, some of the European teams are starting to put Alchemist a little bit higher up. I am not convinced yet, but for Paparazzi, I see it definitely being a good fit. It's just that it doesn't seem as early game focused as I was hoping. It all depends on how he chooses to build, but if he goes for like a Radiance oriented build, I'm not enthusiastic about it. I think it's kind of playing into Keen's hand of picking this Medusa up early. But if he goes for like, I don't know, Solar Crest is like a dead item. I haven't really been paying attention to how the other teams have been building it, but hopefully it's more early mid game focused than, hard carry farming.
Yeah, I want to see how this, if they even still intend to play quick and fast, like the Alchemist with a mid Monkey King.
Mid Monkey against mid Veno.
Yeah, he is on the Veno and safely Medusa off-lane Nature's Prophet. So a
I don't
little
know if this was
different.
Keen's plan. I mean, Dark Nyx is like the only thing, and Kaka Rubik, which feel is like absolute comfort for them. But I don't know about this mid Veno thing. Like you said, you haven't really seen too much of it.
Yeah, I actually saw it safe lane instead of mid. More than mid. It's interesting because Venomancer, I think the few times I've seen it in the side lanes, it's tri-laned.
Right.
And it does give you quite a bit of kill opportunity. With Venomous Gale and Impale coming out, as well as Telekinesis or a Fade Bolt, like, you can definitely get kills in that lane and play it pretty aggressively.
Yeah, and against a mid Monkey King, I don't really see too much kill potential. More often than not, I imagine that Ori will be able to get Jingu stacks. Veno's an extremely slow hero. You see 279 move speed,
For battle.
and you see 354 for the Monkey King. Well, actually, he's under smoke, but his base is 305. So chances are he's always going to be able to get Jingu off, and he's going to be able to get Balance Strike lifesteal afterwards with the Jingu. So I find it unlikely that he's going to be able to get a lot of kills, or rather zone out the Monkey King too effectively in the mid lane. So I'm curious why they went for this lane arrangement as opposed to like the Medusa mid, which
Yeah.
also would not be great, but why the Veno?
I definitely would have liked the Veno in the side lanes more. Like I said, if they tri-laned it, I think it could have been a little bit more... I would be a lot more optimistic about it. That's for
Right.
sure. We'll see. Ori mid with this Monkey King, DUI, and it looks like Paparazzi... This is always a wonder, like, how... with the vision you're trying to see, what the matchups are going to be. They're always trying to get the right vision, find out that who's going to what lane early enough. What's Paparazzi looking for? Because he's setting up mid at the moment.
I would think that Alchemist also has a fine time against Veno mid, so it doesn't really matter. It's possible that, Alchemist is a relatively low armor hero, and dealing with a Nature's Prophet would just be not worth it. So he wants to dodge that, and the Monkey King can pretty much lane wherever, as top lane, Enigma will fall down to this Nature's Prophet, who's rolling out of the base with 4 branches and a Blightstone, so it does seem like they're more interested in securing Alchemist's farm mid and letting Enigma just struggle.
Like you said, he's not heavily reliant on getting that farm. They've been willing to put him in a 4 or 5 position, but right now he is in the 3 position being played by Yang. So we'll see how this lane kind of goes. They've got him top with the Monkey King over bottom, and Monkey King will be up against at least the Nyx so far. I think they're trying to figure out the lane matchups. Do they want to put Old Chicken somewhere else? He's getting pretty heavily harassed by the Shadow Shaman right now. Is he okay against this Monkey King, or okay being here, or are we going to see him TP towards top soon enough?
I don't think he has a choice. I think this Shaman and Grimstork are gonna follow him wherever he goes, so they figured might as well go to this lane. It's, relatively speaking, the safest lane that you can put the Medusa, aside from mid, but dual mid is dead. So she's not enthusiastic about any situation. This is just the best of the evil choices.
So you do have this tri-lane right now with Fade. He took Ether Shock, they took Stroke of Fate. Monkey King hasn't taken anything just yet. So we'll see how Ori kind of reacts to this. His Old Chicken, he's afraid to move up a little bit. And I understand that. A lot of damage could come out pretty quickly from these 3 heroes, especially once Fade gets level 2, and you have Shackle to lock down this Medusa. How are you really going to make it through this lane and in this tri-lane matchup? Seems very difficult to make progress with this Medusa at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, at the minimum, she is getting levels, but that's not... She's not like a Terrorblade style hero that can easily transition into the jungle once you're like, oh, okay. I'm level 4, I had a miserable laning phase, but at least I can just jungle now. Medusa's not that kind of hero, so it's not going to get any easier anytime soon. So I don't really see any plan to help this Medusa out. I think Nyx is just kind of stuck here to an extent, because he can't leave her completely alone, but I'm sure Dark wishes that he could help out another lane, as in his rune is picked up by Fade, and he does have level 2 for Shackles.
Yeah, so he'll go over towards Yi, and they'll bring over Kaka. Ether Shock comes through. There's the Shackle. Telekinesis lifting him up and throwing him down on a Fade to stop the Shackle. But still, in the Acid Spray, and finally gets the kill, but they get Paparazzi first. So Yi coming out ahead on that gank.
Yeah, at least both. At least the Shaman was there for the experience at the minimum, so it's not like a complete sacrifice. And First Blood was already spilled by the Enigma in the top lane, so not the biggest setback necessarily. It's just unfortunate timing for the Alchemist that the Rubik showed up. And also, I think Fade spent a little bit too much time waiting for his Shackles. The Venomancer was able to walk out of the Acid Spray and not take that armor reduction. And Venom may have died a little bit sooner if he was able to shackle him underneath the Acid Spray, but at the minimum, at least, they got the kill.
Do you think he was a little bit shocked by maybe the Rubik?
Yeah, I think the Rubik showing up and he was just like, oh god, now what do I do? And the Shackles would have gotten cancelled immediately anyway. You saw how quick Kaka was to use the telekinesis, but, you know, you saw how close he was to also getting the kill first.
That was one shot away for both sides, and he's the one who comes out ahead. So he's sitting level 4. He's got one in the Venomous Scale, 2 in the Poison Sting. That would make this lane a little bit hard for the Alchemist, and we already see Paparazzi backing off into the jungle above this Secret Shop, using that Acid Spray to try and farm.
Yeah, he can alternate back and forth. Whenever I think typically what most Alchemists end up doing is, what most Alchemists end up doing is they'll come back to the lane whenever it comes underneath their tower, they'll plop down an Acid Spray, draw aggro back, and keep transitioning back and forth between the jungle.
Kaka in trouble top, but
some abuse.
Yang is taking more abuse than Kaka had. Kaka was able to shift over to the other side of the lane, and when Yang got sprouted up, it was a little bit of panic coming in. He's only got one Tango left, so the regen is light, but is he sending... he's got a Soul Ring coming over top.
I love how aggressive Yi is being with his denies. 17 denies. He's not even letting it get to the Alchemist side of the jungle. I mean, his side of the river. And now Rune fights top, Fade.
Oh,
Good.
DY.
Oh, there's no mana for Sprout, actually.
In trouble, tries to TP away, but Dark's there with the Impale. And he'll get the kill. We take a look over top. Fade, one more shot until he goes down. He's trying to get into the trees. Has TP.
Yo, where's the scan at? Oh, okay, there we go.
And the scan is there, but he's just too far away at this point. Just a little too late from Old 11. He still got the kill on the Grimstroke, though. So that was nice, especially with Dark coming over to land that Impale to stop that TP. Just continuing to progress for you.
I'm surprised that Vici weren't more aggressive with these bounty rune fights. With an Alchemist on your team, I always see people fighting tooth and nail for every single bounty rune available, but it's just 2 apiece, and top
Yang again.
yet again.
Just getting locked in with this Rubik, as well as Old 11 able to sprout him, and, well, he doesn't have any way to get out of these trees. He's actually bought another stack of Tangos.
Yeah, no points in Midnight Pulse. Not that he would have had the mana for it either, I think. And 11, I mean, dude hits like a truck, treads, and Blightstone, he has 84 damage right now, and bot.
Yeah, they've got DY, Fade, Primal Spring was used, Ori going in onto the Nyx, Dark will die. And we're looking over at the Medusa, that's still a hard kill to get despite having 3 heroes over bottom, so Ori takes a little bit of a consolation prize in the Nyx Assassin. But a kill's a kill, and grabbing a decent chunk of gold. Look at this push coming out mid, too. Old 11 as well as E using these Plague Wards, having these Treants pushing in. Nobody really defending. DY goes through with the Stroke of Fate, but that's all they're willing to commit to this Tier 1 tower, and now even that might be a little bit too much. DY, Inkswell on top of him, not getting too close. Venomancer under the tower, and will throw the Venomous Gale. As the Plague Ward 2, deny, and there's Paparazzi with it.
How come Alchemist doesn't get gold for that? That's what I want to know.
Get a percentage of the death gold.
Yeah. I mean, Greevil's Greed, knowing the spaghetti code of this game, every once in a while you would expect that to happen. Although Venom's gonna need to start getting more points in Plague Wards because those do give Greevil's Greed, and with only 1 point in them, he's just going to be feeding it away to Paparazzi.
Hex comes
May
out,
actually just go
Shackle.
aggressive.
He's in trouble. Ori makes the rotation. The ulti spilled out by this Venomancer, but it won't matter. They'll get the kill. Ori gets credit for it, taking out Yi for the second time this game. They've got good ward vision inside this area for King Gaming. They see this whole shrine area. They see where Paparazzi's trying to farm.
Yeah, Kaka's been pretty good with it. You also see the ward that he placed in the northern jungle as well. That was far earlier on. Although they're not really contesting with it, so it may have been a little bit too early. Usually you place these wards if you're... It's possible that if they saw a bunch of stacks, then be like, okay, now we need to show up. But if they see just a bunch of single camps, then they're like, whatever, it's not worth contesting it. So it's more just something that they can do to keep track of where the Alchemist is.
Old 11.
Now they might go on 11.
Where he jumps down from the trees. They've got Dark nearby with 2 rotating over. Kaka out of invis, but he misses the impale, so Ori has to be careful. But Yang's here. He's level 7, has the black hole. Ori popping that Wukong's command. And he's got 3 on the Jingu. Balance Strike comes out, and they'll get the kill on Old 11. Making the rotation over is DY2, who's trying to use this Ink Swell to find a stun, but backs off from the impale. The black hole comes out on 2 with no way to stop it. Telekinesis not available. They get the kill on a Yi. They look over at Dark. Yang doing a lot of damage with these Eidolons, and they make it out 2-1. Now, losing Ori, unfortunately, he was kind of locked in over on the left side by the side chop in those trees, so that made it very difficult for him to find any movement into an escape. But Impale comes in. Old 11's made the TP over towards top. Telekinesis coming through, and Eidolons do enough damage to get the kill on a Dark. They've got the Shackle. Eidolons again. Yang from the grave. He's got a double kill. And Ori looking for more. Primal Spring on top of Old 11. The Jingu will pop. Balance Strike. Damage is heavy. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Now Venomancer, Venomous Gale thrown at Ori. Now the chase is going the opposite direction. They've got the Sprout, and Ori regrets everything as he loses his life to the Venomancer.
Yeah, after taking that mid tower, Veno has nothing better to do than just go to the sidelines. So he shows up top after, you know, getting ganked mid and having to spend that Venomous Gale, but he doesn't necessarily need the Venomous Gale. This Nature's Prophet is giving so much damage, and Wrath of Nature plus the Poison Nova, in theory you can win a fight without even having to show up for it. So now DY trying to defend this, but there are way too many keen heroes here.
If there's a stroke of fate, he regrets it immediately. The Impale comes in, Dark gets the kill. And they were close to killing the Dire Courier too. Looks like they'll be able to take this tier 1 tower. DY tries to stop it for a split second and immediately dies. So they'll probably give it up.
Both teams just seem extremely interested in protecting their #1 farmer. Medusa has been given an ocean of space, and she's taking advantage of it, just constantly circling throughout her jungle. And Alchemist as well, who is working his way to the Radiance, so it does look like he wants to basically go toe-to-toe with the Medusa in terms of becoming a late-game carry.
Stealing level 3 in the, or level 4 in the Acid Spray. Get a little boost in farm for the Rubik.
Keep pushing as they all head up top.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They're looking towards the tier 2. Would have liked to get that level 6 on Grimstroke. He did buy out on the Tome of Knowledge. Will he even get it? There's Old 11 coming in with Kaka, the Acid Spray laid down. Sprout will miss. DY back towards the stairs, but Telekinesis lifts him up, throws him back, and he can't get up these stairs just yet. The Wukong's command and the lag that comes with it will be thrown by Ori. Old 11 so low, but still surviving and TPing out. Or, yeah, he does not have the Balanced Strike. Was on cooldown.
Well, at the minimum, DY does survive. Although they didn't get a push out of it. I'm pretty sure Paparazzi's TV was on cooldown. Otherwise, he would have shown up earlier. But Paparazzi's really the best anti-push that they have. Fade only has 2 points in his Ether Shock on the Shaman, so he's not really that great at discouraging these pushes. And Shaman in general, like, you have to deal with these Treants. You have to deal with Plague Wards. So Keen Gaming's push is just incredibly strong if the Alchemist isn't there to discourage it. So maybe a little bit too overzealous trying to kill the Grimstroke instead of just pushing the tier 2. But at least they get out without any casualties.
And they skip over
Now they
DY.
see Ori.
Yeah, because they see Ori.
Got
They've
Wrath of
got
Nature.
Wrath of Nature with the telekinesis, locking him in. And there's more Radiant heroes in this Dire jungle than the Dire team. And Ori
There's
just
more
outnumbered.
Radiant Vision on this Dire jungle than what Dire have.
Yeah.
Dire's
There's
top
just
tower
one
is
ward,
under attack.
and that's about it. Fade moves forward, but we've seen this not be too healthy for these supports when they move in to try and defend.
Dire's top tower.
Alchemist almost
Vici needs to hope that their Radiance comes online soon, and Paparazzi is getting quite close. He's only about 500 gold away. But the map is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and they kind of have to hope that Radiance is a big enough difference maker, too.
Yeah. And it's kind of tricky also, because once he has it, Dark, I mean, he's gonna max out Carapace just like every other Nyx assassin these days, and if they get the setup on the Alchemist, and manages to catch him without Chemical Rage, or even with it, because I believe they have the Spirit Vessels, they find out Ori,
God,
he's
Ori.
gonna go down.
Getting hit by his own balanced strike that Kaka has control of right now, and that is just disgusting. Throw the balanced
so
strike,
Veto has
telekinesis.
the Spirit Vessel completed, so even if they do, like, even if they find an Alchemist underneath Chemical Rage, he's not going to be that survivable. So Keen Gaming are playing all the right cards right now.
This push has been 4 heroes from Keen Gaming, too. Like, Old Chicken's just happy. It's like, I've got all this space. Like you said, an ocean of space. Nobody's coming down. It's a vacation. It's just the right-click challenge. That's it. Nobody's really contesting him.
Yeah, it almost feels as if Paparazzi, it would be safer farming in the enemy jungle than his own jungle. Because pretty much Keen has just lived on the Dire side of the map for the past 5 minutes or so. He does have his Radiance completed on the Alchemist now, although it looks like Medusa has finally, conveniently enough, the rest of Keen have pushed her lane, so she's like, alright, you know, I got Stone Gaze, and the Radiance does proc the Carapace.
Oh no, and he's immediately hit by the Mystic Snake. There's the Stone Gaze, Soulbind comes in, the ulti thrown from the Venomancer, Yang has to turn around, DY low as well, and the Spirit Vessel is placed on him, and it looked like he might have tried to set up for a black hole, but he died beforehand anyway. They take out 3, they only lose Dark. Wukong's command comes out, and Keen Gaming are happy with that exchange.
This will come in handy.
This is starting to get a little bit out of control.
Dire's bottom
And Vici
tower
Gaming do not have the best high ground defense. Again, it's all reliant on this Alchemist. And still, I mean, Yi is getting more and more points into his Plague Ward, so even between that, even just the Acid Spray itself is not going to be enough for the Radiance. But he's stalling. I imagine that Keen probably aren't going to wish to push high ground until they get a Roche. And I don't think that they have a medallion on anyone, so Vici still have time, but the clock is ticking.
Yeah, it's been very rough. Everywhere they try to farm, they're just
They can get another
constant
Radiance
pickoffs.
Carapace off Paparazzi, and
And
they do.
they bring in Old 11 with it. They've got the Impale, 4 heroes here. Another easy kill for Keen Gaming. Was Radiance even the right call?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the game. Like, I hope he doesn't go for a farm-heavy build. And it wasn't even necessarily just because of this Nyx assassin. It was just, I saw the game going this quickly against Vici, and they don't have the best ways of stopping it. And by the time that Alchemist does manage to get, you know, some amount of farm, he hasn't gotten nearly as much space as Medusa has. Now DY managed to ink-swell his way out of trouble, but these tower pushes are just going to keep coming and coming. It's only one more outer tower remaining after this bot tier 2 goes down. The Monkey King has to escape in the top lane.
Roots and run.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Just,
attack.
just one tree away. He was almost taken out of the skies. It just seems like there's going to be so much time needed for Vici to, well, have any chance of coming back. They're going to Fusel on the Monkey King,
Are fortified.
and it'll be Manta style next for the Alchemist.
Okay, well, this cliff ward pans out. They find Nyx Assassin creeping in the... Yeah, and then he pings it out immediately. It's not a great ward, though. It was, you know, you caught up in Nyx Assassin, but this tier 2 is probably still going to go down as now Shaman TP's in plain sight Ori on just the lone tree does get spotted out by a Plague Ward, but still his tower's gonna go down. Yang completely hemmed in.
Yeah, what does he do? There's just no way that Ori can find an entry point here. They've already got Yang. If Ori thinks about going in, he's dead. He'll try to run away, but here comes the Nature's Prophet. Old 11's in. Wukong Command is started, but the silence is there. The Fable comes through, and very easily, Keen Gaming are taking these fights without the Medusa.
They can push high ground. Rubik managed to steal level 4 Eidolons, so you've got Eidolons, Treants, and Plague Wards, and they're pushing high ground.
18 minutes into the game, they're pushing high ground. Paparazzi comes over. The Serpent Wards are placed with the Shackles onto this Venomancer. They get Old 11 low, but well, they just don't have the damage to finish him off.
Those are the most depressing Serpent Wards. It's not near any objective, it doesn't get any kill, the trap isn't even successful. But I'm glad that Keen back off. I really do think that they should just, you know, wait for the Aegis. I think that they're powerful enough to take it. You just post up some Plague Wards, Treants can tank it. It does waste a little bit of time, but I don't think it's necessarily a waste to get an Aegis if you're this close to pushing high ground. The last outer tower is getting sieged. There isn't
Yang
much left
in trouble.
on the map.
Venomous Gale, Telekinesis into the Impale. He's still alive for now. The Soulbind comes out into the Venomancer. So they've got the Wukong's Command as well as the Hex. The Shackles from Fade locking in Dark. They'll get themselves at least one. They look for Yi. Old 11 burning from the Radiance, but they're doing enough damage to Paparazzi. The Balance Strike hits onto the Rubik. Kaka, the second one, dead on Keen Gaming, but they lock in Ori with the Sprout. Don't have enough damage to finish him off, and nobody dead from Vici for seemingly the first time in an exchange.
Yeah, they spend the Shrine, and Alchemist got very, very close to death. Unfortunately, I don't think Yi was close enough to get the Spirit Vessel on him, or maybe he was out of charges. But 11 managed to silence the Alchemist while he was channeling that unstable concoction, so ended up self-detonating, and he was so close to dying, but just narrowly managed to escape.
Still up 6,000 net worth. That's how you know it's going well against an Alchemist lineup. Usually, what the rule of thumb is like, if you're down 4,000 or 5,000 against an Alchemist, against an Alchemist, things are okay. But when you're up now 8,000 net worth against an Alchemist,
and all 4 bounty runes go the way of Radiant. Oh god, as an Alchemist, you have to be furious. You have to be absolutely seething whenever you have that happen. Smoke up,
gold.
Ori. Gonna run into this Vici smoke.
Telekinesis comes out. They're looking to set up the Impale. Balance Strike comes out before he even throws it. He stops it twice. Now, Nature's Prophet moving in. The Black Hole in the backlines. That gets the Rubik as well as the Nyx Assassin. They've got the Checker lining up. They've got Old 11 Kakai as well as Dark. And a quick 1-2-3 coming in there from Vici. So the fights are looking better, and they are ferociously coming back.
Yang was expertly positioned there. He was waiting in the trees looking for his opportunity. He's really lucky that a Carapace didn't come out though, because Nyx Assassin, he didn't Carapace the Boundless Strike from the Monkey King, and he was just holding on to it. I don't know what spell he was necessarily waiting for, but usually whenever you're about to start a team fight, you just pop it, and you're just like, someone's gonna get stunned. And if he had managed to stun out the Black Hole, that would have been disaster for Vici, but yeah, they end up getting it. Nature's Prophet getting a little bit too cocky with his teleportations, and they find DY in the top lane.
Can they kill him? Old 11 TP's in, but then kind of stands still for a split second. The Stolen Inkswell, though, that'll definitely help. That is a good one to take. Especially with Nyx Assassin, who could just use Vendetta and then run up an Inkswell.
Still not really motioning towards Roach. Ori's pushing bot and getting a little bit too hasty.
Yeah,
he will go
he's
down.
way too comfortable in that bottom lane, and they get the deny. So all that work for basically nothing. Yang, though, playing the cooldown game, just doesn't have, you know, he doesn't have the Guardian Greaves or anything. He's got the pipe, he's got Helm of the Dominator, but at the moment it seems like Yang is desperately needing a Black Hole to turn these fights around.
Yeah, hopefully he'll hit this level 15 talent. He hasn't gone for a Midas, so chances are he's gonna take the GPM talent, and that may help him be a more relevant force, but Vici Gaming exclusively relying on these black holes is not gonna get them, you know, into the late game. Alchemist and Monkey King need to start being able to initiate these fights, because Enigma's... Oh, actually, he does have a Blink Dagger queued up. Okay. That's optimistic, but it could work out. I thought he would go for a BKB first, but yeah, he's going for the Blink Dagger. And now Keen will start motioning towards Roche.
Yeah, they're inside the Roche pit. Black hole
Dagger
still on
smoked up,
cooldown. 26 seconds until that comes back up. And the smoke will be broken as Dark's popping the Spike Carapace as well as the Impale landing. Stone Gaze comes out, the silence on a DY. They'll get themselves one, they'll look for a second. Ori trying to get away, but, well, can't get himself far enough away from the arrows that are flying from Old Chicken's bow. They get 2 kills. DY buys back immediately. Spirit Vessel onto Yang. There's the Impale. Serpent Ward throw down as well as the Hex. Ink Swell. Will it pop in time? It's the BKB on Paparazzi, so he's okay anyway. Soulbind onto the Nyx. And it will finally attach to Kaka as they take out Yi. They take out Dark. 2 heroes dead on Keen Gaming.
Alchemist not having to spend his BKB on the first half of that fight was crucial to turning that around. And I don't think Keen Gaming expected it. I thought they were like, oh, okay, we've clearly won the first half of the fight. You know, Grimstroke had to buy back, Monkey King had to buy back, because now they do find Old 11, and his BKB is down on the Prophet, so he gets hexed, but forced out by Kaka.
He buys back, and the
now
Hex
DY
is
doesn't
stolen.
cut the right tree.
Can't get out,
It's a
and
dieback.
Telekinesis thrown back, but the shackle from the low ground onto this Nature's Prophet, the Wukong's command, and this Nature's Prophet
Enigma doesn't
might
have the
just
mana
fall,
for
but
Black
Yang-
Hole.
Oh god, Old Chicken hitting like a truck. The sun comes out, they'll kill the Nature's Prophet, the immediate buyback. Paparazzi might want to just eject. They've got the Hex onto the Monkey King, they get the kill, dead for 46, has buyback. Spike Carapace trying to catch up to Paparazzi, and Dark comes in into the black hole! This is huge, because if they can kill the Nature's Prophet, he just bought back. And the Force Staff, the BKB, trying to get away, the Sprout on a Paparazzi, Shackle on a Medusa, and the Venomous Gale, they'll pick up Fade, throw him down, Shadow Shaman in a lot of trouble, he'll end up dying.
And Prophet managed to get out, so he got back to TP'd back to base. His TP's up, available again, but he's just gonna go for bounty runes.
The seeds of fortune.
So at the end of the day, it was a buyback on the Nyx Assassin and the Nature's Prophet, which were 2 buybacks for Keen, but 3 buybacks for Vici, as the Enigma, the Monkey King, and the Shaman all bought back. And Grimstroke did buy back earlier and died back, so huge net worth loss for him. He just careened downwards. He had a Blink Dagger in his quick buy, and now he's so far away from it. So overall, a victory for Keen.
And the Black Hole's used, that'll be on cooldown for a while. Old 11,
trying to
silence. Got the Hex, Fade behind him, Serpent Ward's used, there's the Shackle. With the Midnight Pulse laid down and Ori hitting away. They do end up getting the kill on Old 11, who had fought back previously and now dead for 75 seconds.
Yeah, and this kind of gives Vici an opening to challenge this Roche now, as Monkey King vaguely sees what's going on. He can see the Medusa, he can see the Roche's HP, and he's giving vision for this unstable concoction.
The Impale on the trees, stolen
Oh,
Black
that
Hole
didn't catch anyone.
is... Yeah, okay.
Nice try.
Now the Soulbind comes out, but lifting up DY, he'll be dead once again, dead for 43 seconds. The BKB is going to be popped by
Oh, the double
Paparazzi. They've
hex,
got the
the
double
double
shackle and the Hex, and hooking with the Wukong's command. Balance Strike with it. Old Chicken trying to run away with the Stone Gaze, getting low on mana, but not a big deal. The Stolen Soulbind connects Ori as well as Paparazzi, and now Paparazzi with the Spirit Vessel on him will just be chased down by King Gaming and taken out.
This Rubik's a kid in the candy store right now, even though Kaka did completely whiff that Black Hole. He was hoping to, like, edge the Monkey King and be able to, like, spin him back into the pit, I guess, is what the plan is, because he knew that there was no way that they could have had vision for that unstable concoction to land in the Medusa unless the Monkey King was on a nearby tree looking at it. So he guessed it was this tree, it was really this tree, and now Ori has parked himself on the exact same one again. But he gets out because he thinks this Nyx Assassin could see him. Nyx actually has no idea where the Monkey King is. They're just randomly shooting at trees, but they will be able to take this Roche finally. They're trying to force himself to break trees, yeah. Eventually, you just need to put up a ward to see if you can find the Monkey King.
Third time's a charm. They finally get the Aegis. That's on an old chicken who... I don't even know if he really needs the Aegis. Hasn't died yet. He's 5-0-6. Obviously, it's...
Yeah, he's doing well, but he's leaving fights with his Stone Gaze as opposed to entering fights with the Stone Gaze, so
Yeah.
this maybe allows him a little bit more to play around with. And now he has the Scotty. He's working his way to that Butterfly. Old Chicken is... Being only 1.5k net worth behind an Alchemist is a great look for a Medusa at 27 minutes. And poor Paparazzi, dude has to keep his Radiance off half the time because he's so afraid of Nyx Assassin.
He's kind of learned his lesson, and look at the spread between these Vici heroes. I know it's an Alchemist, but it is quite a far spread here. Almost 10,000 between Alchemist and the Enigma. Ori is only at 9,000 net worth. Bottom lane, they will get the Serpent Wards down as well as the Hex. They'll find the Nature's Prophet. Old 11 drops to Yang. So, very well done there
trying
by
to push
Vici.
top lane in the meanwhile. They're trying to make as much space to make sure that this Aegis doesn't end up being useful. So Old Chicken has to end up going bot to slow down that push, and Ori's trying to make sure someone has to come top. Slow down that push. Anything to stall before they lose high ground.
Dark was coming. He was looking for that Monkey King. Ori TPing back to base. As Rubik almost finishing this axe. 650 gold away.
Holy crap.
Did not go
Honestly,
for Blink Dagger,
he's not even that intent on like buffing the black hole or anything like that, or the Serpent Wards. It's just the ability for him to steal stuff. There were so many good spells for him to steal: Unstable Concoction, even the Acid Spray, being able to steal a Chemical Rage and then turn it on and then steal something else like 2 seconds afterwards. Obviously, the black hole does get buffed up, and then all of Fade's spells are pretty much fantastic for Rubik.
He, even without that axe, had been stealing spells pretty consistently, the ones he needed. He had got Soulbind, got Black Hole, despite it being a whiffed Black Hole. He tried.
He tried.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So now Old Chicken looking towards the high ground. Venomous Gale gets thrown. I'm not sure Paparazzi got hit. He's out of mana right now.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Really could use some mana, try and do something. Throws the stun at this Medusa while Ori's over bottom.
Yeah, between Stroke of Fate and Ether Shock and Acid Spray and Midnight Pulse, it's not easy to get a creep wave up to the high ground. They spent a glyph offensively to get that first creep wave up there, but was only able to bring down the tier 3 tower to like half HP.
Oh no,
Meanwhile, Ori does get
spotted by Old 11. And he might be able to TP out, but Kaka there. And TPing quickly enough over to the shrine to telekinesis.
Oh, that means that 2 heroes are missing, but the Radiance proc again.
Oh god,
Getting
Paparazzi.
the Carapace off.
Spirit Vessel on top of him. He has to get the BKB off. And now on the side, this Enigma in a lot of trouble. Has Black Hole, but he's not going to just turn around and throw it. He'll end up dying, dead for 80. Doesn't have buyback. And they may not have had 2 heroes at the fight initially, but they killed 2 heroes on the side of Vici, and this high ground siege just got that much easier.
It's the power of the Prophet. You can be stopping a split push in one lane 1 second and then show up to a team fight the next. They will take the mid racks, they will move on to the bot racks, and this Enigma's dead for a whole minute. And he doesn't even have buyback available. It's on the cooldown even if he had the money for it, which he does have the money for it, but it's not happening. Look at this, they're killing dominated creeps. They're not even worried about the racks.
Not even worried about the heroes. Just want the 200 gold. Oh,
they get another Radiance Carapace proc.
He's just not allowed to have this item on. He spent all this gold. He's not even allowed to use it. Dead again. GG called by Vici. Keen Gaming with an impressive Game 1 showing. Very well done. A lot of pressure just placed on Vici. Impossible for Vici to farm around the map without really risking their life time after time.
This is what immensely amuses me about intra-regional power rankings of China. Vici Gaming are the major winners, and Keen Gaming, they did fairly good, but they didn't make it to, grand finals or upper bracket finals or anything like that. And then they just show up here for a qualifier and put a clinic on, Vici Gaming looked completely powerless. Didn't even manage to like even think about breaching high ground. They only took 2 towers by the end of that entire game, and I think part of that did come down to Paparazzi's itemization. Even beyond like most of the time everyone picks an alchemist to go for the Radiance build, but against a Medusa, I think that's a little bit short-sighted. And now, as I'm sure he's learning, against a Nyx assassin, that's also a very, very dangerous proposition.
Every time he's like, "Can I turn my Radiance on now?" Spike Carapace dead again.
I'm just gonna farm this wave real quick, just real quick, and then I'll turn it back off. I swear.
Gets the itch for gold, and he walks out there and just dies immediately. 2-5-9 for Paparazzi. He ended second in net worth behind Old Chicken, who was deathless, 5-0-7. Really farmed just so well, and I love the analogy, the ocean of space that he was given. And it was 4 heroes for King Gaming early on that were just able to pressure Vici so much to give him that kind of space, and then he was just ready. He had the Sky E, had the Manta style. All right, I'll join my team. And Vici had no answers before Old Chicken came into it, and then they didn't really have answers once he joined into this this King Gaming fight.
I think it was more the other way around. I think King Gaming were like, all right, we'll join our Medusa now. She's the ringleader at this point. And it was also credit to how aggressive they were being in the early game. The structures that they were pushing, the map control that they asserted on the dire side of the jungle, the northern jungle for the first like 15 minutes or so, they were just living there. I think overall, Keen probably spent more time on the dire half of the map than their own half of the map this entire game, and it showed.
Yeah, so King Gaming, they take game 1. They are 1 game away from qualifying for the major. Vici trying to bring it back. They don't want to go down in the lower bracket. We'll be back with game 2 in just a moment. I'm your caster B-Cop, joined here by Tsunami, and we'll be back in just a moment.